Hey guys, what is going on? Lego Man 123 here, and welcome back to another video where today I'll be doing a review on the Lego Ninjago set 71718 Wu's Battle Dragon. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first minifig included is Master Wu, or as it is told on the box, Hero Wu, and this is one of the cheapest ways to actually get Master Wu in this wave of Ninjago sets, and I'm pretty sure he's actually exclusive to this wave of Ninjago sets. And out of every Ninjago set in history, I believe this is one of the cheapest sets to ever get him, but I might be wrong about that. So Hero Wu's accessory is this really nice staff piece, and I think it works really nicely. It's just using the two stick pieces, and then there's, I believe, a lightsaber held piece, or a very similar piece to that, and then Master Wu can just very easily put his hand in, or it does very easily clip on, so I really like that. His leg printing is really nice. I love the amount of detailing on it. He seems to have some really nice colors with the red, the white, a light grey, and a bit of brown. And then his arms also have this really nice sleeve color of a sort of a light sort of brownish color, and then he does have this really nice sort of shoulder arm. I love the sort of texturing on it with the spikes. And then Master Wu does have this really nice hat piece, and I'm pretty sure he does have it in every Ninjago set, but it might be in different colors and sort of different variants. So it's really nice to get this nice hat piece. And then the back printing on his head, he just does have that sort of almost ponytail design. I'm not 100% sure on what it exactly is, but I really like how they did include that. And there's some back printing as well for the torso. Really nice texturing there with the lines, the coloring, and then the detailing. And then the beard piece is exclusive to Master Wu and just other variants of Master Wu in Ninjago sets, because I believe no other minifig has this exact beard. And I just love the shaping of it, the texturing of it, and it definitely does work really nicely for Master Wu. So, taking off the beard, it does reveal the torso printing at the front a little bit, and I just love the shaping of it, the texturing of it. It really does look like the armor he does wear in this season of Ninjago, and it also does have this sort of shine to it, of a sort of goldish color. That is really nice. And then taking off the beard, it also does reveal his facial expression, and at first, while I was building this minifig, I was like, wait, is this Master Wu? Because you really don't see him often with his beard off. So it's really strange just to see the sort of hair on him without his beard on. So that was really interesting. But once you do put the beard on, you can actually see that is Master Wu. I love the texturing of it though, with some wrinkles on his forehead, his eyebrows, and even though you can't actually see most of his facial hair with the beard on, I love how they've just included it just in case. The next and final minifig in this set is a Gecko, and I believe his name is Gecko. Now, hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, and I just love these creatures in the Shintaro dungeons for Season 13 of Ninjago. I love the design for them, and then just the amount of detailing on this minifig as well as in the show, because they definitely do have a lot of detailing on them as well. Glec's accessory is this crossbow piece, and I believe it's the same as the one from Season 11 of Ninjago, the Ice chapter, because I'm pretty sure these sort of Ice Warriors have them. So it's very easy to operate. I just love the design for it, and I really like how it's minifig scale. So it's not really big, so you can't actually see the minifig, and it's at a pretty small size, so then the minifig can use it nicely. So you just use this piece, which is the brown color, and you just press that down. It's the same as the stud shooter with that piece, and you just let it go like that, and I honestly have no idea where that went. Okay, that's a stud loss. You can pretty much use any sort of stud. You don't need the specific ones it does give you. The torso printing on him is really awesome. I love the amount of detailing on it with the sort of back here for maybe gems or something. His belt, and then this sort of light brownish sort of color here going across, and then a rope, and then his sort of clothing with the rags. And he does use short legs in this really nice sort of brown dark coloring. I really love the look of that. would have been really cool to possibly maybe get some like printing on that for like maybe rips in like his pants, or like he sort of like patched them up with some rags or something. But apart from that, I can see why they didn't do it, because it would have been quite hard to possibly print on that. And it does have some purple arms, which is really nice. I love the coloring for that. And it does have a quill of arrows. Taking off the quill of arrows, it does reveal a bit more printing. I love the amount of detailing on it as well. Just as the front, it does have some really nice printing. I love the inclusion of the rope continuing from the front to the back, and then like the sort of part here in the light brown, the belt as well. And then in the right corner, it does have this really nice print of a slingshot. I just love the inclusion of that. And then his sort of hair and hat sort of piece is really interesting, because I believe it's the same as the Goblin minifig we got in one of the collectible minifig series. And it was actually the same color to like the hat, but I think it was a lighter brown, and the ears were a dark green. It's really cool to see an updated version of this with like the purple ears, and then this really nice sort of brown coloring. I just love the texturing of it, and then the molding of it is definitely really cool. So taking it off, it does reveal a bit more of his facial expression. The first one I love so much. He looks really confused, and I just love his eyebrows and his mouth. And then the next one is quite frightening. That is quite a scary look, and I just love the look of it. And then with this sort of hat piece on, you can actually just see it a little more better, and I think that is definitely really awesome. In this $19 or $20 set, you do get two builds. The first one is a small one, and this is just a stand for the white blade, which is the ivory blade of deliverance. And then the next build is, of course, the battle dragon. So first we'll start with the smaller build, and I just love the inclusion of this. Instead of just having the battle dragon, they've actually included something else, which I'm really glad they did, because the swords of deliverance, one is called the ivory sword, and then one is called the shadow sword. I'm pretty sure I'm correct there. And instead of just having them in like all the expensive sets, which can be quite hard to actually get if you can't afford them, I'm really glad they have them. I think the cheapest one to actually get, the shadow sword, is possibly the mech. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm really glad they have it in sort of cheap sets which you could possibly afford, instead of just trying to sort of get all the expensive sets. So I just love the shaping for the sword. I love the coloring of it. The blade with that thickness is really awesome. Now I believe the writing in the black on either side does mean something, but I'm not 100% sure. It may mean like the name of the blade, but I'm not too sure. And then the handle in this really nice black coloring is great, but by far the coolest part of the sword is definitely that skull head. I love the shaping of it, and it's so small. I'm actually quite shocked they could actually print some really awesome detailing on that. And then the stand for it is a simple build, but I think it's quite effective because they use this, I think it's like a 2x3 sort of circular plate, and it's in this really nice sort of orange color to actually represent lava. And then the flame pieces in the green, sort of translucent green, is really awesome. And then the coloring with like the dark grey, the light, and then the brown, they look really nicely together. But I do wish they maybe sort of tiled off these areas so that they don't actually expose studs. You can't actually see the one once you do put the sword there with the 1x2. You can kind of see, but not as like good as the ones on these sort of clip parts. And I'm actually glad they included that, because you can actually put it in there pretty nicely. So I think that is definitely really cool. So now we'll take a look at the battle dragon. The main build, of course, is the battle dragon, and I just love the look of this. I love the overall design for it. The amount of detailing on it, including some like textures on it, is definitely really awesome. So first we'll start with the head and then slowly make our way down. So at first I honestly thought the battle dragon wasn't going to be this big, because on the box it does look small, but then in like reality it does look pretty big or a medium size. So the head has this really nice design to it where you can actually move it almost like 360 degrees because it's on actually two ball joints or one ball joint, but then like the neck part is on another one. So that's really awesome how you can move it like in a 360-degree motion. The head design uses some really interesting pieces with like these pieces here in white, and then also these sort of like tooth almost pieces or like claw pieces in gold, and then this sort of like tooth piece as well in white. Just a lot of really nice detailing and texturing for the head. But I do wish they made it a little bigger because it does look a sort of little small compared to the rest of the dragon. But apart from that, I really love the design for it. And then as I said, with the neck, you can move it like 360 degrees and up and down. And then there's this part here where you can actually put Wu in the seat here. And then like this chain with a sort of stick there. You can actually have Master Wu ride it. So I think that is definitely really cool. And I like how they've included that. Instead of just having like Master Wu sitting there, he's like can't hold on to anything. And then the wing build is really awesome. I love the shape for the wing. I love the sort of angle of it as well by using some really interesting pieces. And then this sort of fabric for the wing, it's not really a fabric, but it's some sort of like hard plastic because like you can't rip it easily, which I'm really glad. And it kind of reminds me of the Dragon Master sort of theme from season 9 of Ninjago with like the golden one, and it kind of reminds me of like the texturing and like the design for the part of the wing with like the Master Wu one. I think it's really awesome to actually once again see that design, and I just love the shaping of it. And you can move the wings up and down, which is really nice. I just love the sort of motion of that because it is on, it's not just on a bar attachment, which I think is really interesting. It's actually on a bar and hinge attachment, which is really surprising. And then the legs also have a really interesting and pretty awesome design to it. They actually use two different builds for the legs. The first one at the front is on a ball joint, and then the most interesting part usage is actually the droid piece from Star Wars in white, which I think is definitely really interesting, but it is very effective for like a dragon leg to actually sort of work as the knee in a way, or sort of to give it that sort of Pacific shape. And then the claw pieces in gold are really nice. And then just sort of grey and the white. At first I was like, it does look like unfinished because you can actually see a bit of the grey. But then I'm like, it works really nice because it sort of gives that really nice sort of leg design. And then the other one is, I think that's on a ball joint as well, or just, I'm not even 100% sure. I don't think it's on a ball joint. I think it's like one of those spin ones. I'm not 100% sure. And then the build for it is really nice. I love the sort of detailing up here for it. And then it also does use the claw pieces, so that is really awesome. And then I do love the cheese slope wedges to actually give that really nice design for the legs. And this is really interesting how they've done that, just to give the leg a bit of thickness, so that is really cool. And then moving our way down, I love the design for like this sort of pattern here with the cheese slope wedges to give that sort of spiral look to it. And then moving down, this is all on a bar and clip attachment here, and then as we go down it moves into a ball joint just to give that really nice and sort of like free play motion for the tail. I love the shaping for that, and then the end for the tail is definitely really awesome. So now we'll take a look at the bottom of the dragon just to see a bit more of a better design from the bottom. So I really love the wings on the dragon. I love the shaping for them, and then the overall design. And then also another thing I love, which at first I thought looked unfinished and really didn't look nice, and that is the showing studs on like the tail, the neck part, and then also the legs. Because at first I was like, it looks unfinished with just studs showing, and they could have very easily tiled it off. But after looking at it and just like seeing it a bit more better in person, I was actually like, this actually adds a bit more texture and detailing to it to actually sort of represent these studs as like scales for the dragon, which I think is definitely really cool. And it definitely does add to the dragon as well, it sort of like sticks out from other dragons because usually they sort of like stud it all up. But for this case, for the dragon, they've actually used the studs to create this really nice texturing for it. Even the legs have a lot of studs showing, which I think definitely does look really awesome. And it just adds to the dragon as well. So now we'll take a look at Master Wu on the Battle Dragon. So you can actually put his staff and possibly a couple of other weapons on the clip attachment here, which I think is really cool. Instead of just having like Master Wu's staff like off on the side, you can actually have it with him. So then you can give Master Wu the chain, which will just do that for now. And I think it looks really nice on the dragon. He can very easily come off because he just slips between like this sort of slip on that specific piece. And I honestly think he looks really cool on top of the dragon, and we can just do that like over and over again. And I really love the motion for the dragon. With the packaging, I won't go too much into depth with it because we already did take a look at it in the unboxing. So the box has this really awesome design with it, with the coloring for it. I also really love the box art on it with the background for this set, the coloring, and then at the back it does reveal just some like play features. Well, the only play feature is the Gecko's crossbow, how you can actually shoot it. I kind of wish they maybe showed some more play features with like the dragon in a way, like sort of moving parts for the dragon. And then apart from that, included inside of the box was this really interesting Kids Go Free advertisement or like sort of coupon for Legoland Resorts and also Legoland Discovery Centers, which I thought was really interesting because I've actually never seen this sort of packaging in a Lego set before. So I'm not too sure if they're in the rest of the Ninjago sets for this wave. And then the manual, you only do get one included, and then the advertisement is expand the game, just like showing the other sets you can get to make this really interesting and a pretty awesome, some sort of like board game. So that is definitely interesting, and that was the only advertisement. So, my overall thoughts on this set is that it is definitely worth $19 or $20 wherever you do live in the world, because you do get an exclusive version of Master Wu because he only does appear in this wave of Ninjago sets in this set, and then to actually get a Gecko in such a cheap set is really awesome. And then also the Ivory Blade of Deliverance is also really great to get in such a cheap set. But by far the most, I don't even think awesomest, but the most amazing thing about this set is the dragon. I just love the overall design for it, the amount of detailing on the dragon, the texturing on it, the part usage. So this is definitely worth however much you are going to pay for it, 19 or 20. So I would definitely love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And as always guys, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I can see so. Goodbye!